All right, good evening, everyone. It is Monday, August 28th, 2023. It's the MMAOB Daily Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin, joined by my co-host here, Mr. Big Marcel. We're going to be recapping UFC Singapore. We'll talk a little bit about Contender Series, Marcel, and PFL as well, but it's mostly going to be a UFC Singapore recap show. And then we'll do another show right after this, guys, where we'll preview UFC Paris, what's left of it. Not a ton, but... we'll preview whatever's left. But Marcel, I always ask you how you doing, man. How's everything with you?
I'm doing very well, despite still not sponsored by Monster Energy. But yeah, I'm doing well, man. How about you?
Hanging in, Marcel. Hanging in, yeah. Just taking it day by day, my friend. But, it was a good card in the weekend, so that kind of takes my mind off things. I say we get into it. So, yeah, this was interesting, guys. I'll get the comments first, and then I'll get into it.
You got to be... You say we got to get into it, then we do it officially. Let's go.
Well, especially with Max fighting, right?
Yeah.
We got Glenn, always. Yeah, we'll talk about those cards too, Glenn. UFC's making bank, though, so I don't think they care too much. Knox, what's up, man? Joe, what's up, man? Every week, Joe's here. Antoine, what's up, brother? How you doing? We're doing decent, I guess. I know Marcel's doing well, so appreciate you asking. So... This was interesting, Marcel. So this card for you is like 11 a.m., right? So it was like a pretty reasonable time, I would say. Although I know you get up later than that, obviously, because your hours are your internal clock's fucked. Let's be honest, because of your basically working North American hours, but you live in Europe, so it's kind of crazy. But for you, let's be honest, it wasn't that bad, right? For me, okay, this was my day, guys. Friday night, tried to fall asleep at 12 o'clock, which is about usually when I fall asleep. Couldn't get to bed till 1. And then I got up at 5. Okay, so here's what happened on Saturday. Get up at 5 o'clock, start watching the card. Fights were pretty good. Prelims were pretty good. But here's the thing. I had my friend's wedding, and my buddy, he's a friend of mine that I used to train MMA with. And, man, I love the guy. And I guess it worked out okay, but he had a really early wedding at 9 a.m., 9 to 2. So it was extremely early. And I'm like, all right, I'm getting up I have to get at 7 anyways to get to this wedding. I might as well just get up at 5 and watch the fights. Because originally, Marcel, I was just going to sleep in and watch them later. But the thing was, I was like, you know what? Let me just get up and watch them. So I watched them. It was good. And then on the drive there, I had the Blanchfield fight on my phone. I had my phone on my seat next to you. So I was just listening in on it. Didn't watch super close, but kind of saw what was happening. And then when I got to the wedding, it was kind of like they did the ceremony or whatever, and there was a lot of Valzer Redman. And I was sitting there on my phone, hiding my phone. I was watching the fights. But I figured because my buddy, is from the MMA gym, he wouldn't have cared. But yeah, I watched pretty much the main card except for that Blanchfield fight on my phone when I was there, including the main event. So it ended up working out okay. But I mean, obviously, I would have rather just sat my ass down on my couch watching it on TV. But that was my day, guys. So that was interesting. First time I ever did that. But yeah, I ended up getting to watch the card. And then and the wedding was done early, which was actually kind of cool. So that was funny. But yeah, Marcel, that was my day. It was crazy. I was up I'm gonna say 20 hours ish. For me, that's a lot. I know for you do that all the time, but for me, being up 20 hours straight, I'm pretty exhausted. So it was a long day. I slept like a fucking baby that night. I'll tell you that right now, Marcel. Slept like a baby that night, but yeah, made it through. Watched the card. And let's get into it, guys. So go ahead.
When you were there, you were watching Korean Zombie Holloway, and he was retiring, and you were crying because of the retirement. Your friend was thinking you were crying because of his wedding.
So actually during the ceremony part, it was the Nakamura fight, which wasn't the most exciting fight. So I was able to actually watch the thing and then just have my phone on my chair, looking over beside my chair, looking at it. But then, once the valves were red and stuff, they, you were allowed to, just have a, some drinks and just chill, have a coffee. Because I have coffee because it was, 10 a.m. I just sat there in the chair, by myself watching the Smith and Spann fight. But it was okay because, honestly, I didn't really know anyone besides my friend. So it worked out okay. But, yeah, again, would have rather been home. But, hey, it's a story at least, right? Let's get into it, Marcel. So start with the main event. Max Holloway finishes Korean Zombie, retires him. I mean, no surprise. This was Marcel, honestly, here's the thing. UFC fights are pretty difficult to pick these days. This was the easiest fight I think we've ever had to pick on the show. I think, how long was the breakdown? A minute?
Yeah.
it wasn't long. Like this was the easiest fight we probably ever broken down. Like it was just beyond obvious what was going to happen here. Fight pretty much went exactly how I thought. Like a late, I said third, fourth, or fifth round, right? Like I liked that prop, that late stoppage prop, and that's I think I called fourth round, but I was close. I think you said second, right? So it was right fucking in between us, Marcel. But yeah, Max looked amazing, obviously, and destroyed Zombie with that brutal faceplant knockout. Obviously, dropped him, almost choked him out with that anaconda choke, which I thought he was going to get. Zombie's just so fucking tough, though, man. He's a tough dude. Obviously, ends up retiring after this. Great career, fun career. Let's start with Max, though. I mean, great performance. I want to hear your thoughts on the fight. Give me your thoughts, man.
Yeah, what can I say? I think Zombie started pretty well. He pressured Max, and I think he had Max kind of wobbly a little bit, but then he tried to go in for the kill, and he got wobbled himself. Second round, Max tried to knock him down, tried to finish it. I actually wanted to stop, but the referee was like, no, it's not over. And then he went for that anaconda choke, which he didn't get. Zombie got out of it somehow. And I had the feeling in the third round, Korean Zombie was like, listen, I'm not going to win a decision here. I have to go full blast. And if I have to do it, I have to do it now, So he went after him. He got dropped and he got knocked out. So, it's a typical Zombie way to go out, I would say. He went out on a shield. I still like the performance of Zombie, Max is still the second best guy in the division. So, he went toe-to-toe with him. He paid for it, okay. But yeah, all respect to Zombie, man. He had a good career. I've always liked to watch him fight. So, only thing is, what does Max going to do now, So, yeah.
Yeah, okay, we'll talk for both guys here. So with Max, really the only fight that makes sense is like probably Topuria, right? Like that's the only fight that makes sense if they don't give Topuria a title shot. They might give Topuria a title shot. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. I think after being if he deserves it, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was like a Duplessis thing where the UFC's like, no, you have to beat the next guy in line, like the Whitaker. Like Max is the Whitaker of this division. It's the exact same thing, right? Like he would be champ if it wasn't probably for the champ Volk. So that's the fight I think would be next. But if they give Topuria a title shot, I don't know. I mean, maybe Movsar or Evloev, right? That would be the other guy. Because all these other guys, like, don't get me wrong, there's some good fighters here, but like, I think he's fought everyone else, right? Max, right? He fought Yair, Ortega, Allen. He didn't fight Josh Emmett. I guess Josh coming off.
Please, let's don't.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that fight either. I think it would. Like just looking at the rankings, guys, it's either Evloev or
I would do Max against Gaethje. I like that.
You'd like to move up in weight.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's possible. But one time he did it, he didn't look very good against Poirier.
Yeah, but that's one time. Maybe is there something? Yeah. The thing is, like, he's not going to go anywhere in this division, as long as Volkanovski is the champion, and that's why it would be good if Volkanovski fights Topuria, because and I don't see it will happen, but if Topuria beats Volkanovski, you get the immediate rematch. And if Topuria wins again, then they can do Topuria Max. You know what I mean? True. So if I was Max, I wouldn't ask for that Topuria fight either.
Yeah, no doubt. It's possible. I mean, it's definitely possible because like the problem with Max is he's so good, but he's like cleaning out the division of new contenders. Like he beat Arnold Allen. Like I know Yair ended up getting a title shot, but he beat him at the time, right? Like he kind of stalled his momentum. Calvin Kattar. So he's a great fighter, but at the same time, he's kind of like hurting the up-and-coming fighters. So we just say he fights Topuria and beats him. Then it's like, okay, you're not going to do the fourth fight between Max and Topuria, but if Topuria right now could get a title shot. Anyways, we'll see what happens. But like, yeah, 155 is a possibility. There's no doubt about it, guys. But I'm with Marcus too. Hey, Marcus, I'm with you. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's the right move. I want to ask you this too. So Antoine's asking if they'll put Korean Zombie in the Pioneer Wing. So no, it wouldn't be Pioneer Wing because Pioneer Wing is – I just Googled that, Antoine. It's anyone that fought before, UFC 28 in 2000. Actually, it's unified rules, Marcel. So kind of at the same timeline, but that's what they said. So he wouldn't go in that. I love Korean Zombie. I shouldn't say I like him. I love the guy. I mean, he's awesome. I've watched all of his fights. I remember in WC when he fought like Leonard Garcia, George Roop. I mean, the guy had some great fucking fights. And then even in the UFC, I was at the Mark Hominick fight, Like I remember when he fought Poirier, I bet on him, and he was a huge underdog in that fight. When he beat Leonard Garcia with Twister, I think that Twister to me is the best not knockout submission of all time in the UFC. I really think it is. At the time, it was like insane. Now we've only seen it 3 times in the UFC. So I think he's a great fighter. But the thing is, guys, like his record in the UFC was 7-5. Okay. And I understand it's not always about just records and that's what you did. And he had a lot of bonuses and fun fights, but 7-5. And if you include WC, it's 7-7. Again, there's like, I think 10 bonuses. So there's a shitload of bonuses there. But at the same time, Marcel, like he's basically like a 500 fighter. He did fight good competition. I do think that losing 4 years of his career for the military service hurt him. I wouldn't put him in the Hall of Fame. I don't really feel like that's a controversial opinion because I don't think his record is indicative of a Hall of Fame fighter. But there is a way to get him in the Hall of Fame, and this is how. You induct his fight with Yair Rodriguez into the fight wing. I think that's the way to do it, Marcel. And that way you get both of them in the Hall of Fame, him and Yair. Because Yair, again, I don't look at him as a Hall of Famer, but you look at what he's done at featherweight, and you look at all the wins he's had against really good fighters and all the bonuses he's had, and there's definitely an argument to be made too. So to me, they both fall short of like actual Hall of Fame because Max Holloway is like a legitimate Hall of Famer, right? Like 100%. But these other guys, I don't put them in that same category, but I think the way to get them in is to do that fight because that was an epic fight. It was on the the 25th anniversary card, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yep.
Yeah.
And it was arguably like the most like crazy knockout of all time potentially. I mean, it was insane, right? So for me, like I would do that. What do you think, man? Am I out to lunch here? Would you put him in the regular Hall of Fame? I wouldn't, but again, the fight wing I think is where he should go. What do you think?
The thing is, it's kind of more getting like a UFC kind of who they put in the Hall of Fame, not accomplishments. The thing is, like, yeah, I like Korean Zombie a lot, and I think he has been very important for South Korean MMA, for example. But the thing is, the moment you put Stephan Bonner and Cowboy Cerrone in the Hall of Fame, that's when you give an example of that almost everybody who has done something good for the company can get in the Hall of Fame. So the thing is, like, would I be surprised if they put Korean Zombie in the Hall of Fame? No, I wouldn't be. But I'm more into like fight wing as well, But the thing is, even in the fight wing, they call the people in the fight wing Hall of Famers. So it's really weird. Then he would be not even the first Korean guy in the Hall of Fame because Doo Ho Choi is already in it, right?
That's correct. Actually, great point. I forgot about that. Yeah, actually, I was at that fight with Swanson and Choi. See, that's the thing. Like, I don't mind if the fight's in, but I do feel like it's kind of strange that they, consider those guys Hall of Famers. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, that's what they've done. By the way, the UFC. So I honestly, there's a video of Bonner being inducted into the regular Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. But now, if you go to their website, he's not there. It's just a fight. But Forrest Griffin's in the Hall of Fame. So I don't know really what happened there. And also, Cerrone, for some reason, is not listed on the UFC website, but he was inducted this year, right? Wasn't he?
Yeah, this year.
Yeah, okay, maybe they didn't update it then. Who else got inducted this year, by the way? Do you remember?
Yeah, Jose Aldo.
And Aldo, yeah, they're not okay. They're on the
Anderson.
site yet. And Anderson, right? Yeah, they're not listed on the site. That makes sense. It's crazy that Anderson someone took so long to get inducted. That's just shows you, right, that they play favorites, right? Because
I remember when this happened in London, right? When he got inducted in the Hall of Fame, or the announcement. So I remember I was asking.
Yeah, I was too. We forgot about him. Yeah.
I was asking some people who's going to induct, and they were, we don't know. And at a certain moment, somebody said Anderson Silva. I was like, he isn't in the Hall of Fame yet. No. I look, oh no, he's not in the Hall of Fame yet. What the hell? Super weird.
I agree. By the way, so there's another question here. Not question, a comment. I agree with this guy too, with JP. JP, I agree with you. I watched the fight back with my friend because he didn't see it, so I watched it with him like Saturday night. Dude, Max got tagged a lot in this fight.
Yeah.
And his chin definitely held up again, but it'll crack one day, Marcel. Like, you can't take that many punch. Like, I think he's absorbed the most strikes in UFC history without getting dropped, let alone knocked out. So I think he will get knocked out at some point. And honestly, if he does move to 155, fights Justin Gaethje, it wouldn't surprise me at all if he gets dropped and knocked out. Those guys are heavy hitters, man, at 155.
But the thing is, he got to make up his mind what he's going to do now. Does he want to fight actually for a title? Then he probably has to go to 155 at this moment, or is he okay with fighting at 145 and waiting until Volkanovski gets the fuck out of there, because it's not very likely the UFC could do a fourth fight. And also, you got to get Volkanovski into that fourth fight as well. He fought him 3 times. Volkanovski said, I beat him 3 times. He officially beat him 3 times. In my opinion, he won fight 1 and fight 3. I think fight 2 was very close back then, But it's also for Volkanovski, man. You cannot say to Volkanovski, listen, dude, you're going to have to fight him a 4th time. You already beat him 3 times. Let's do a 4th time. I understand that maybe fans want to see it still a 4th time, and the UFC maybe does as well because he's the 2nd best fighter in the division, Max. But I would understand from Volkanovski point of view that he's like, fuck it, man, not again. I want to fight new guys. Maybe you want to go to 155. Again. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I love both guys. I think Max is amazing. Max would be a champion if Volkanovski wouldn't be in that division. So yeah.
Max is one of the best of all time. There's no doubt. Like, his resume is insane, guys. It's so crazy. Like, the names, the wins he has, like, he's amazing. He's an amazing fighter, an incredible fighter. I'm just looking at like some of the. Pardon? Sorry.
Great guy as well. I think
he's awesome, dude. Did you watch the post-fight interview with him?
Yeah, of course.
Dude, he what an awesome dude, eh? Like, seriously, he's so cool. Like, he didn't even talk about himself, guys. He just talked about his opponent. Like, who does that, right? It just shows you how classy this guy is, especially with everything that's going on with him and his country, or not country, his state in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Although it's basically like its own country, let's be honest. But yeah, just looking at some of the stats, like most strikes landed of all time, he's number one by far. Like, significant strikes landed, he's at 3,197. Number two is Angela Hill at 1,820. So he's almost double the amount of the next fighter. That's insane. That's absolutely fucking insane. And let's see what else. The other one was total strikes landed, 3,441 compared to GSP. He's number two, 2,591. So amazing career. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Yeah, I think we're good talking about this one, right? Oh, yeah. Comparing Max to Tony, who I don't. Oh, this guy's sorry. I thought you said we did. Yeah, I mean, Tony's great too, or was great, I should say. But yeah, Tony, I don't know, man. I mean, the guy is pretty much done at this point. His chin just fell off a cliff too. The thing is, like I said, with Max, like, he's never even been dropped ever, which is crazy. He has 30 fights in the UFC? Like, never been dropped, Marcel. How fucking crazy is that? Like, it's unbelievable. So amazing chin. All right, let's get to the next fight, Marcel. I think we're good with the main event. Anthony Smith defeats Ryan Spann by decision. Again, I was watching on my phone, but I watched it decently close. I thought Ryan Spann edged it out. And I look at the stats now, and it looks like Anthony Smith landed more stats. I did pick Anthony Smith. Did you pick Smith? We both did, right?
Yeah, we both did. We both did.
We both have as a consensus dog. Woof. You better get that ready, by the way, for the next podcast, because I'm going to we're definitely going to use it sometimes.
How do you say that? My telephone is on my battery, so can do.
No worries. How many strikes is Max Zorg? I don't know if I can find that stat. I don't see it in the record book, but there must be a way to find it. Anyways, because I'm just looking at, like, if you click on UFC stats, there's like stat leaders. I don't know if you can find like in the bad way, like the opposite way. But I see the.
What do you want to know? What the significance?
Like how many times has he been hit by significant? I think he's the most ever without being dropped. I mean, 100% he is, and the most ever without being knocked out. But I don't know how many exactly it is. I agree with Lynn too, by the way, that there hasn't been UFC Hawaii. Anyways, let's talk about the fight. All right, so according to the stats, Anthony Smith landed Spann 91 to 59. I mean, it's hard to go against the numbers, right? I always use them as an argument here on this podcast, like, as to why I thought decisions go the way that they do. So it's really, like, difficult for me to come on the show now and be like, well, I don't agree with the stats, because the stats are what they are. But watching in real time, man, it was 1-1 going into the third. Smith won round one, Spann round two. I thought Spann landed the harder shots in round three, but Anthony Smith obviously landed more shots, and his striking accuracy was way higher. So the numbers say that he won the fight. I thought Spann won at the time, though. I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think?
First round, clear round to Anthony Smith. Second round, clear round to Ryan Spann. Third round, 50-50, dude. The thing is, Spann pretty much screwed himself, in my opinion. He didn't went for it full blast. And Anthony also didn't. But Anthony landed more, in my opinion, and I thought it was super close. I was talking with a friend about it. He said, I think Smith nearly edged it. I said, yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if Spann gets it. I think it's super close. So I said, either way, 29-28, I'm good with, Yeah, this is a typical fight where you look like... it's like, do you look like the amount of strikes that is landed or the kind of strikes that is landed? And I felt like Spann could have done more in the third round, And Smith was pretty much fighting with an injured eye on his left, But he kept on going.
Yep.
This is a typical fight where I'm like, if Spann got the nod, I wouldn't have said something. If Smith got the nod, I wouldn't have said something. But this is a fight where the guy who loses will really hate on himself for not going full blast in the third round. Because I think Spann could have won the fight if he went a little bit harder, in my opinion. But hey, who am I? I'm just a couch potato, but you know what I mean. It's like a super close fight. So in my opinion, a robbery, but yeah, 50-50 to me.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a robbery, but again, I thought at the time Spann won. But again, the numbers are saying Smith won, so it's hard to disagree with it when the numbers say what it is. I do think Spann fucked himself though, like you said, like he had Anthony hurt so bad, and he just laid off the gas or whatever in the third round. Right? It was just very bizarre.
There's actually been a worthless fight. We see that fight 2 years ago, and Smith won again. So it's like not.
I don't understand why they booked it. This fight never made sense, especially as the co-main event over Blanchfield and Santos. Like, what the fuck was that? Like, so stupid. Yeah. Hey, Paul, what's up? We got some other guys in the chat. We got Sinister here as well. Appreciate you guys in the chat. Yeah, it's kind of 50-50, it looks like in the chat, just based on what people are saying. Yeah, again, I don't think it was a robbery, but I thought Spann won. I did. And again, the only thing I'll say is, like, these judges, like, Luke Hill has, like, 6 fights scored in the MMA divisions. Like, should he be really judging a co-main event? I don't know.
I mean, I figure he scored more fights before, but just not UFC fights. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, I'm sure he scored fights in Australia and probably stuff like that, and maybe in Asia too. But like again, I just feel like in the UFC level, you should be getting the best officials, and I do think the UFC self-regulates right when they go to Singapore, so they're the ones picking the officials, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Possible, but that UFC don't even know how to write people's name. I mean, the referee Thomas Spann, I don't know where he had an extra N in his last name. So
is it 2 N's or 1?
It's normally 1 N, but now we have 2 N's. So I don't know.
Yeah, he's did a few UFC China cards and stuff before.
Yeah.
Like I think when he did the Whaley and Jessica fight, like that card, I think. So I've seen him around. Anyways, fighters that work as analysts, commentators even get favors from the UFC and judges. Yeah, like Paul Felder, when he got that scorecard from Chris Lee against RDA. He was like, "What the fuck?" Like, remember that?
Chris Lee scored a contest 48-47 Felder.
Felder's like, what the fuck? Yeah. When the guy, like, it was like Swanson last week, although Swanson now is like, oh, yeah, I won the fight. Yeah, I'm sure he did, buddy. Anyways, could have been a 10-8. Yeah, no, it wouldn't have been a 9-9. It would have been a 10-10. To be honest, third round 10-10 is possible too, right? Like, they never scored. I don't remember the last time a 10-10 round was scored. It's been so long. I think they've just been instructed to, like, not do it unless, again, Marcel, like, just say, I'll give you an example. Starts, like, the round, and then a guy gets a finger in the eye, and they have to score the round. Like, right? Like Juan Espino, I think maybe that fight was a 10-10. Juan Espino and Romanov, was that 10-10 round in there? Maybe.
No, I think Romanov won that fight, right?
Yeah, you're right. It wasn't, but it should have been, right?
Yeah, I think Dana would honestly get a boner or a stiffy when he sees a draw because you don't have to pay the win bonus.
Yeah, they would love that shit. Yeah. They don't have to pay the extra money. The Spann never reached potential. No, I remember seeing Spann in Brazil. 2019, he fought in the Rosen and Whaley card. I was on the same plane as him. Go down to Brazil. I was like, man, this guy is fucking, like, I'm a big dude, Marcel. This guy is huge.
Yeah, he's very big. I know.
6'5", like muscle. He was with Safe, right? And I was like, wow, this guy's so big. And he knocked out Little Dog in that card. And I'm like, damn, this guy's pretty good. But honestly, man, like, he's got a lot of flaws in his game. Like, he's kind of a front runner. If you look at his career, guys, almost all of his wins in the UFC are by first round stoppage, right? Like, the fights that go longer, he doesn't do too well in. So he's a bit of a front runner, in my opinion. I mean, and his durability is not very good either, to be honest. What are you gonna say?
Have you met Stefan Struve?
No.
Dude, I've met him. It's like, hey, what's up, dude? I normally never have to look up to people because
how tall are you?
I'm 6'3".
Oh, same as me. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. I'm 6'3" in the length and 6'3" in the wide, but you know what I mean? But it's normally, I never have to look like this, and this was like, dude, this guy's, he's huge, man, And he was along with Steve Mowry back then, and Steve Mowry is huge as well. So.
No, that's funny. Tall Steve. All right, let's go to the next fight here. Giga Chikadze defeats Alex Caceres unanimous decision. Yeah, I thought he won this fight. I thought he won every round. What do you think?
Yeah, I gave the first round to Caceres. But like I said to somebody on Twitter, he's like, don't you think Chikadze won? But he was really respectful. So he got a respectful answer back. It's like, I won't judge you if you give it to Chikadze the first round,
Sure.
But many people I talked to thought that Caceres won 1 and 2, and actually people in the arena who I have contact with messaged me, it's like, how did Chikadze won that fight? I was like, I had him second and third round, and even the first was possible. And they were like, oh, we saw a completely different fight. It's like maybe you see if you see it from a different angle in the arena, you think differently, you know. But I think it was a pretty clear decision win for Chikadze, I think, and the call out was fun at the end. I thought he was going to retire for a second, you know, and then he went from Gegard Mousasi to Conor McGregor, you know, in his post fight interview, and he called out Rodriguez for the December 16 card. I like that fight, but I would give Chikadze probably Josh Emmett. Yeah, I think he gave a good fight, and for Caceres sucked that he got his arm broken in the first round, of course.
Yeah.
I think he did pretty well, but yeah, Chikadze, good for him, man. After 1.5 years without a fight, he was like, how do you say that, suspended for a year after that Cater fight, which he didn't know.
Medical suspension or.
Okay. Yeah, medical suspension.
Yeah.
Because he didn't know. He didn't know medical suspension. He didn't know about that for some time. But yeah, I'm glad he's back. And actually, I got to give him credits, dude, because Chikadze, I remember when he came in the UFC, I was like, this is like kind of a kickboxer again, is trying to go to MMA. And I wasn't really under how do you say that, impressed when he was on the Contender Series when he fought Austin Springer. I think he lost actually that fight. Then he came out of nowhere, came back. I think he fought Brandon Davis, and he got that. First it was a draw, and then it was a split decision. It went to split decision. And he fought Jamal Emmers in the fight. I actually thought that Jamal Emmers did very good and maybe should have won the fight.
Yeah.
After that, man, he convinced me against Omar Morales. And his only bad fight actually was against Calvin Kattar.
Yep.
So I think he's 7-1 now in the UFC. He's doing pretty good, man. So I got to give him credit.
He's 8-1. He's 8-1.
8-1, actually, yeah.
He's good, man. That's a great record. I mean, that's an awesome record. You're right. The Calvin Kattar fight was crazy. Like, when I was talking to my buddy, he's been like, so my friend, he's like my best friend, and he's been trying to like, bet on the sport more lately, and he's doing a lot of tape study, right? And I told him, I'm like, dude, if you really want to like, win money, you have to put the time in and do the tape study. I think we both agree, Marcel, to get that extra edge. And he told me, he's like, yo, I just watched that Giga fight with Kattar. He's like, dude, was Kattar on like steroids? Because like he's never fought that well before. And I'm like, I don't know, but man, that was like Kattar 2.0 almost, right? That fight. Because I don't think he's ever looked that good before. And he's a good fighter, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he was. I'm just saying it was funny my friend said that. For Giga next, he's ranked number 9. Yeah. I guess you could do him against Evloev, who's number 10. You could do him against like Bryce Mitchell, Dan Ige maybe. There's a lot of fights for him, man. Has he fought Barbosa yet? They fought. Yeah, they fought. They had that main event fight. Yeah, there's a lot of fights. Giga's a good fighter, man. For a guy who hasn't fought in a year and a half, I thought he looked good. He had to get he was like someone said hey, Octagon updates. I thought he looked pretty good personally, but I agree with the second where we say he knocked the rust off, because I think that's what it was. By the way, this is a great point by Knox. Christopher Chapuis. I don't know this guy either. Christophe, I mean. Gomi and Aarons, that was the last 10-10 round. So that makes sense, because I think it was a majority decision.
Yeah, majority decision.
And Alex did break his arm. I think he broke his forearm blocking a kick. So the fact he went 3 was impressive, but yeah. All right, next fight. Rinya Nakamura defeats Fernie Garcia. I'll give Fernie credit. Never been finished. This guy's super fucking tough, but one of the judges had 30-26. That's what I had. I had a 10-8 round in the first round. It was a clean sweep. This guy's good, man. Nakamura is really good, and he's not even close to being ranked, which is crazy, right? Because he's very talented. I think he's one of the better Japanese fighters out there, to be honest with you. The Japanese fighters just haven't had much success in the UFC historically, Marcel. Other than like Yushin Okami, and Gomi was like the Takanori Gomi, not William.
Not really.
More in like pride, right? Like other than Okami, who really has had success from Japan, like not really anyone, right?
Yeah, Sakuraba won a tournament, but that was on one night. But that was on one night.
Yeah. And speaking of Hall of Fame, he's there. But anyways, the point is, like, this guy I think is like, one of the better Japanese fighters. Any quick thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, man. I feel like Fernie. Listen, man. I like Fernie a lot. Fernie was out of it after the first round. Safe really had to talk to him. It's like, dude, start again. Second round, new fight, go for it. That Fernie was between second and third round. I feel like he was kind of broken, man. And Safe was like, listen, dude, you got to go for it, man. This is your 5 minutes of your life. You got to show it now. You saw in Fernie's eyes, he didn't believe in it. The thing is, he was touching up Nakamura when it was standing. But the moment it touched the ground, it was over. Nakamura was just way too slick on the ground for him, and I gave him credit as well, man. He came out of Americana. I think he went out of an armbar, and he came out of out of a north-south choke. So I think he came out of 3 chokes.
I thought he was going to get with the north-south. I really did. It was pretty tight.
Looked like it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Dude, for Nakamura will come far, I think. I got to say, I think many people expected actually to see a finish here. I did pick Nakamura by decision, I think, last week. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I hope they give Fernie another one. Nakamura will definitely get a step up in competition.
Yeah.
For Fernie, let's be honest, man. Listen, he's been competitive in the fight against Brady Heastand last time. He was good in the first round, but second, third round not. The Newsom fight wasn't great, and this one, yeah, it on the ground it was on stand-up was okay, but ground wasn't competitive at all. I think Nakamura was way ahead on him on the ground. So I don't know if he gets another fight, but I hope so. I think he's a fun fighter, but hasn't worked out for him in the UFC so far. And for Nakamura, like I said, I think they definitely gonna build him up a little bit. Like they need Asian stars as well, right? So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I actually did really well in this card. I went perfect on the main card. I had okay prelims, but they were kind of tough to pick. 10-3, but I had a perfect main card, and the methods I was perfect in, except for Spann, Smith, which I thought would be ended a finish, and then this fight, which I also thought would be a finish. But I had a good card, Marcel. Anyways, I agree with what you said, and I also got this one right, and I was pretty confident she would win. Erin Blanchfield. Loved her here at -140, guys. It was a close fight, man, no doubt, but she definitely pulled through in the third round. Like first round, Santos won. Second round, Blanchfield. Third round, Blanchfield. She just had more gas in the tank, better cardio, was able to get more control, landed more strikes. Really good fight, I thought, for her. And for me, Marcel, Santos is a great fighter. So I think beating her, I think it should get her a title shot. I don't really care what Furo or Namajunas do. I would give this to Blanchfield. I would give her the title shot against the winner of Valentina and Grasso, and let her get the chance to become the youngest women's champion in UFC history. I think she's earned it. I really do. What do you think?
First of all, I want to say I hate that this wasn't 5 rounds.
If any fight should be 5 rounds, she'd be like this, right?
Exactly. This was the most important fight on the card,
Yep.
And the thing is, like, if it was 5 rounds, I think Blanchfield wins the fight with a finish. You know what I mean? Because Santos was completely gassed in the third round. She got even the best shot was by Erin Blanchfield, like 10 seconds or 50 seconds to go in the third round. She hit her pretty clean with a good shot.
Yeah.
And you saw Santos was super tired. She started very well in the first round. She cut Blanchfield open on the top of her nose, or here in the bridge of her nose, I should say, in the top of her nose. And I think Santos did really well. And people are like, yeah, how can you win a fight if you got all your takedown stuff? The thing is, like, you don't get points for takedown defense. You get points for trying to get the fight at a certain place, to push the pace of the fight. I think Blanchfield did smart, And in the second round, Santos made a huge mistake with a trip where she landed on her back instead of getting Blanchfield on her back. Third round was a clear Blanchfield round, I think. Second round, Blanchfield. First round, Santos. So, yeah, 29-28. But like I said, man, I wanted to see a five rounder. And for the simple reason, because people are now shitting on Blanchfield's performance. And I know if it's a fourth or fifth, she might get a finish in the fourth or fifth round, and nobody's shitting on the performance. They would say, like, very smart done. She outworked her with the cardio, and then she got the finish, And now it's like, yeah, she won, but it's like she stalled it against the case. That's what a lot of people say. I don't agree with it, but it's a lot of people say. And I think they should do her versus the winner of Shevchenko Grasso.
Yeah.
And to be honest, listen, man, I'm going to give my pick already. I think Grasso beats Shevchenko again, and I think Blanchfield beats Grasso. That's what I think.
There you go. We'll make a bet. I think you can bet on future bets for next year. You should do that, Marcel.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right? Santos is 4-3 now in the UFC, but like she's much better than the record indicates, right? Obviously.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I will say this: like I think Blanchfield beat her more convincingly than Valentina did.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Like I thought Valentina lost that fight, so like the fact Blanchfield legitimately beat her is very impressive, especially considering Santos won the first 3 against Valentina, in my opinion. Anyways, Blanchfield's 24 years old, and she's 6-0 in the UFC. How could you hate on this girl?
Yeah.
I wasn't sold on her, Marcel. But remember, you were the one who was like, "Yeah, man, she's really good, and she's going to beat Norma Dumont." And I was like, "Why did they do this fight?" Remember your debut? I'm like, "Why did they book her in this fight against this girl who's like massive? You should be fighting a featherweight or lightweight even." And she ends up, because she's missed weight at featherweight. She ends up, not taking that fight, and then has a great career so far at flyweight. I think she's the real deal. She's the real deal, guys. She's definitely great. Marcus, that sucks. Yeah, it was a close fight, Marcus, but again, Blanchard will edge it out, as you said. Yeah, it was again a competitive fight. A lot of people are saying she would have finished her late. I think so too. It should have been a 5-round fight. I will agree with this. Like, her striking's not amazing, but it's a work in progress, right? So, yeah, I mean, she's so young. She can get better. And
I want to know.
Deadly. Go ahead.
Antoine says, I thought Santos won. How? You got to explain.
What rounds? Like the third round? I don't know, man. I mean, it was close, but I think she really pulled away in the last couple minutes, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, maybe there's an argument to be made.
It was anybody's fight, pretty much. With a crazy late flurry or punch or something, that could change. That was that close.
Absolutely.
But Blanchfield pulled it off in the third round, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yep, I agreed. One fight that didn't have to go 3 rounds was Junior Tafa knocking out Parker Porter. The Pork Man gets knocked out again. We both picked Tafa by knockout, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, first round as well. Yeah.
Dude, he was a great bet. He was like minus 145. Great bet. Great odds. Yeah, I mean, Parker Porter's chin is not very good. Do you think he gets cut, by the way? He's lost 3 of 4. You think he gets released?
I don't know, man. He got that win over Braxton Smith, but I'm just kidding. But the thing is, like,
monster? Yeah.
The problem with Parker Porter is, like, he had only the chance if he got this fight to the ground, and that wasn't happening. He got knocked out by both the Tafa brothers. The thing with Parker Porter is, I think he is still better than a lot of heavyweights, honestly, in the UFC. But he is the problem with Parker Porter is he's not in that. You got like the really bad heavyweights. You got like the less bad heavyweights, the middle, the okay heavyweights, and the good heavyweights.
Sure.
And he's between that middle and less bad heavyweights. He's not in the bad section. But if you're in the less bad heavyweights, you find like the middle kind of guys or the even above that ones. And then you cannot get a streak together because, for example, there are some heavyweights on there who are going to get a streak together because they actually suck and they fight other sucky opponents, so they can put on a streak. And for Parker Porter, either he gets cut or they will use him to build up another heavyweight, So that's pretty much. That's also, like I said last time to you, when they had Braxton Smith, Parker Porter. Braxton Smith actually got the red corner. That's always. I see that as maybe that's me, but I see that as a disrespect when somebody in his debut gets the red corner against you. When you already have like 6-7 fights in the UFC, that pretty much means that the UFC think the A side is the debut guy. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I agree. I agree with you basically. You know what? Maybe you could do this fight, Parker Porter against Lucas Dreschke, because he got fucking knocked the fuck out as well.
Jesus.
I think Waldo could have got a bonus too. What do you think?
I think the referee should have been much more earlier than what he was. I mean, it made it look like a fun knockout. You know what I mean? Because I showed it to my dad, and my dad was laughing. He's like, "What the hell is this?" So it made it look like a fun knockout. But the referee should be there for the safety of the fighter, so he should have stopped it when he was like, this.
Who's Mark Craig? Who is this guy?
I didn't know who he was.
He was too slow. Also, people saying like, "Oh, it was back of the head." I mean, when the guys turned around, like the fight should be stopped immediately. Basically, like I think when someone's turning their back and running, like he wasn't running, he got rocked. But like that fight with Chandler and Dumont, like you can't do that. You know what I mean? Like that's like you're not fighting really.
Did you ever see that kickboxing match with Myrtle Grunhardt against Marat Grigorian?
No.
Where Grunhardt lands like a flying knee on Grigorian, and he is open here, and Grigorian just turns around and he walks to the corner, and then Grunhardt hits him with a full punch to the face, and he gets stiff knockout, and then 2 guys from the corner of Grigorian jumping Grunhardt in the cage, and they have to pull them off him. But that's also like, it's not that's also on the referee. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So yeah.
Salsa Boy's 3-1 now in less than a year in the UFC.
This was his most impressive one so far.
Easily.
Yeah, because he hasn't impressed me so far, to be honest.
What do you think about him and Junior? Do you like that fight?
Yeah, why not? You can do that.
It makes sense because you're both just fought on the same card, right? Like, I think that's what they're going to do. You could do the winners of these fights and the losers. That's what I would do. Yeah. Let's go to the next fight here. Garrett Arfield looked great. I mean, I think he could have got a bonus. He looked amazing against this Kazama guy. This Kazama guy's terrible, though. I no offense to this dude, but he's not good at all. He shouldn't be in the UFC.
We both picked
bad
Armfield.
chin, dude. What are you gonna say?
We both picked Armfield last week.
Oh, easily. I mean, I shouldn't say easily because I wasn't sure because he's only fought once and lost in the UFC, but he looked great. He looked great. Great striking. Your boy Jason House in his corner, Marcel. By the way, I'm sure you saw that.
Yeah, Jason was there.
But yeah, Armfield looked good, right? I think you'd agree with me on that one. Okay, I got this right, Marcel. Michal Oleksiejczuk defeats Chidi Njokuani. I mean, to me, this was one of the better fights in the card. This fight was amazing for the.
This was fight of. If Holloway TKC doesn't happen, this was fight of the night.
Honestly, I think they gave that fight of the night bonus for the main event because it's almost like a thank you for Zombie, you know?
I have no problem with it.
I don't have a problem with it, Marcel, but I would have rather given Garrett Armfield a bonus, personally.
Yeah, I agree.
That's just me. I would have given Max a bonus and then Armfield, you know, personally. And then Waldo, too, I think, could have got one. But either way, even Billy Goff could have got one. Anyways, the point is, like, this was, I think, the best. Personally, I think it was the best fight in the card because, like, I was most excited for this fight watching it. Chidi looked great for the first couple minutes, and then Oleksiejczuk just took over. Obviously, Chidi's not got the best cardio, Marcel, at this point. I think we know that. And he kind of quits a little bit too in his fights, which is not good, right? When it doesn't go his way. I don't like that. Yeah, I mean, Michal is a dangerous dude, man. How many knockouts do you have in the UFC? 3, 4. He has 6 UFC knockouts. Very dangerous guy. What do you think of the fight?
Yeah, fun fight, man. As long as it lasted. Yeah, Chidi started well, but the thing with Chidi is he has only gas for a couple of minutes, you know. And at a certain moment, it was over. For Oleksiejczuk, yeah, he's a fun fighter, but the thing is, like, if he fights a really good grappler, he's fucked. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you saw that with the Caio Borraio fight. Yeah, this was a fun fight. I actually would have put this on the main card. We actually said that last week as well, you know. So yeah, good fight, fun fight, and yeah, good for Oleksiejczuk to get another win here. For Njokuani, he started so well in the UFC, and now he's like not doing very well. Wonder who they match him up with next. Yeah,
we'll see. But the guy's a fucking exciting fighter, man. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. The call out from Oleksiejczuk, Curtis Blades. He wanted to say, I think, Chris Curtis, but he said Curtis Blades.
Yeah. Song Kanon defeats Rolando Bedoya. Biggest upset in the card, plus 300 underdog. Yeah, Bedoya, when I was watching it right in the first round, I'm like, man, this guy, like, again, Marcel, I'm not in shape by any means, but this dude had he's got love handles, and he's fighting in the UFC. You really can't, you know, it's unless you're a heavyweight, you really can't be, like, out of shape. He should not be fighting at welterweight. He needs to drop down to lightweight. Like, Song Kanon is a gatekeeper, and he beat him. You know, I know that, again, the strikes landed actually have Bedoya landing more strikes, but he didn't land with power at all, right? It was just like pitter patter, tap tap. It's hard to win a point battle like against big, strong guys like Kanon. That guy, man, he looked great at the weigh-in, Marcel. It kind of got me thinking a little bit. He was teased. And then I realized he had trained at what's it called, Killcliff with Ian Gary, who he obviously lost to. Song Kanon's a bit underrated, you know, a little bit underrated. Yeah, he looked great, man. Any quick thoughts on him?
Yeah, man, you're a fucking fat shamer, Adam. How dare you?
I know, right?
I'm so offended I'm going to dye my hair purple. No, I'm just kidding. You're right. Yeah, I mean, Bedoya started well. I got to say, he started well. Great. But, yeah, I think Song Kanon took over the second and third round. And, yeah, he got the win. I didn't expect it at all, to be really honest, because Bedoya really looked good against Chaos last time out, you know. But, yeah, I think Song Kanon clearly won the fight.
Yeah, for sure. Won the second and third round. Yeah. Billy Goff gets the knockout on Kinoshita. This Kinoshita guy's a quitter. That punch to the body, I'm sorry, man, but if you're in the UFC, you should not be getting knocked out with that kind of a punch. I know Goff's got some power, guys. I get it, but, like, come on. This guy is a quitter. He's lost both his fights by knockout. When it doesn't go his way, he gets finished. I thought he was better than he is. I've been wrong about this guy a couple of times. I would never pick him again. Goff, again, got hurt early and then came back. It happens in every fight with this guy, Marcel. Like, he just takes some damage and he comes back. You know, shit. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, what do you think of Goff? You like him, or?
I mean, he got tagged again, like just like Contender Series, and he got the win. I don't know if I can say that you shouldn't get stopped by a punch like that, you know, because I don't know how it feels. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's not what you mean, but it's like, I don't know. Maybe it was that hard that the lights kind of went out, but yeah, good win for Goff, man. And yeah, my apologies to Gabe Killian, who was here, and it was like, you guys pretty pick Goff, right? And we were like, no, we picked Kinoshita. You're right again, dude. Just like last time when I picked Ode Osborne over Alma Baez. So you're all right again. Yeah. Good win for Goff. Great debut, I think. And I'm looking forward what's next for him, man. I think he's so far he's a likable guy for a lot of people, I think. And I like to see what's next for him,
For sure. JJ Aldrich gets the first knockout in the UFC in 7 years, finishing Liang Na. Liang Na needs to be cut, right? Like, she's not UFC caliber, right?
Why are there so many cappers on Liang Na? I really don't get it. I saw it the whole week on Twitter, like Liang Na's gonna win. I was like, what
no,
did you see?
To be fair, she did get 3 takedowns, but like, she's also kind of a quitter,
Yeah, but Liang Na has only 1 or 2 things that she's good at. You know what I mean? And
her armbar, that's
pretty much
armbar or bust. Her fights are exciting to watch. I'll give her that, but she's not good. Do they cut Kinoshita? I think so. I don't think he's UFC. Dude, there's all these guys on the road to UFC. Like, there's only a few that are actually good. Like, that's the honest
Nakamura,
truth. Yeah, Nakamura's good, but like Kazama and Kinoshita, they are not good fighters, man. Sorry.
I also think personally that that road to UFC.
Actually, sorry, he wasn't on a road. He was on game weight contenders. What am I talking about? But still,
yeah. I think like the road to UFC, I think they shouldn't do a separate Asian thing. I think they should mix it up with the Dana White Contender Series,
Yeah.
Because then you can see, let's put the Asian talent against American talent or against European talent, and then you see if they are good, they're winning this for these fights, and they're also going to the UFC. If you keep matching up Asian with Asian talent, I like the mix, That's why I like the Contender Series this year more. Back in the day, it was more like US against US. Sometimes they Europe, South America. Now it's more mixed, And I think that's good because you actually got another Dutch guy tomorrow on it, so I like it. Yeah.
Who?
Yusri Belgari.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Is that the guy, the kickboxer guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. He fought Pereira and Izzy, I think.
Yeah. He got Glover in his corner tomorrow.
Yep. Last fight here, Sung Woo Choi defeats your boy Jarno Aarons. I thought Aarons was going to knock him out, man. I thought so. I thought we had a dog pick here, correct, Marcel. We went 1-1 in the consensus dog, so we actually made money if you look at it that way. But as the week went on, the line kept getting lower and lower on Choi because everyone was on Aarons. Everyone was picking at Marcel, right? Because everyone's fading Choi. But at a certain point, I started to think, okay, maybe we're just kind of underestimating Choi a little bit. And because of the experience, right? And he ended up pulling it off. I don't think he's that good, honestly, but he got the win here, saved his job, basically. Any thoughts on this last fight?
Yeah, man. Obviously, it was a lot of buzz in the Netherlands for Jarno. I mean, the first round, I think it started well. Both guys started well. I think Jarno was a little bit wild, and he walked onto a few counters as Choi. Choi won the first round, in my opinion. Second round, I think Jarno won the second round. I mean, I know Choi had some, top control, but the most significant moment in that second round was the uppercut where we knocked down Choi with. And I think that the mistake here is that he followed Choi to the ground, after that uppercut. Third round, clear round for Choi. He even knocked him down with a low kick, with a leg kick. I don't know if that's called as a knockdown, but it's pretty much a knockdown.
They don't call them knockdowns.
They actually should,
Yeah, I kind of agree with you.
Yeah. And he could have let him stand up, and I think he maybe could have even got a TKO if he let him stand up at that moment, but he went to him with the ground. He just wanted to secure the win, which I understand if you had 0-3 in your last 3 fights. So, deserved win for Choi. He won rounds 1 and 3, in my opinion. But I have the feeling, man, listen, man, I talked to Jarno briefly after it.
Yeah,
he knows that second round he should have finised it probably.
That was his chance to get his first win in the UFC.
So
you think your boy gets cut, or you think he gets one more?
I think he gets another one. Not because he's from my country, but I think he took a short notice fight against William Gomi in the UFC, 7 days notice, and the fight with Choi was competitive. So I think he gets another one, but he knows he really needs to win the third one. He got a 4-fight contract, so he needs to win the third one. I mean, we're not all Dustin Stoltzfus or John Phillips who gets 4 fights, even when you're 0-3. But we'll see.
Absolutely. Just a couple. There's a question here for you from Antoine. He asked, "What time do your pay-per-view start? Is it 4 a.m.?"
Pay-per-view starts this main card 4 a.m. Yeah, normally it's like the early prelims at 12, the prelims at 2, and the main card at 4 a.m.
Yeah, you guys are. Man, I feel bad for you guys in Europe, but I mean, at the same time, you don't. You guys get it all for free too, right? Like all the.
No, it's not for free.
It's not free there. Okay.
Yeah, we pay like it's like a yearly. Sure. We pay yearly $60 for everything.
That's nothing. It's pretty, like $60.
Yeah, I know. We only have to pay extra for the early prelims because that's not a discovery. That's still a fight pass. So
Yeah.
So let's say I fucking pay $90 for the early prelims a year, and I pay $60 for all the rest.
Nice.
That's stupid,
Do
man.
you take a nap or stay up? What do you do?
No, I stay always up. I always stay
There
up.
you go.
I never take a nap. The thing is, if you take a nap and you take a nap for like 2 hours or 1 hour, you feel fucking awful,
Yeah,
when you wake up. So you can better just like go with it, and after it you can like sleep for 6 hours or something, or maybe a little bit less.
Yep.
That's what I do.
Fair enough. All right. Last question for you. What would you rate the card out of 10 after watching it?
I give it a 7. I think it was a pretty decent card for a fight night. I think there was some good names on it. I think a lot of people actually delivered. I think it was a more fun card to me than it was last week. Like the pay-per-view, in my opinion. So I give it a 7. A good 7.
I think I said I had it like a 6 or 6.5 coming into it. I would give it like a 7, 7.5. So it actually exceeded my expectations a little bit. So I'll give it that. Last question, Marcus. I don't even know if you're in the chat yet, but he's in the chat still. You always ask us, Sparks. We'll beat you to the punch though. Who stock dropped the most? It's got to be, I would say, I'm not going to count Zombie. I would say Ryan Spann, honestly, man. I just think the guy is just kind of shown he's not really like that level anymore. And also Cheedy. I think Cheedy as well, because, man, he came on the scene, had that quick knockout over Barrio and the fight with Dushko, and he's looked pretty bad since then. So I don't know. I would say those guys. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, last question here, off topic. Any news on? All right, can you answer them? Can you answer Marcus?
Yeah, Pantoja, no. Leon Edwards, no. Volk, no. 135 women. I would guess they do Pena against Pennington.
Yep.
Men 205, next title. I think they do Yuri against Pereira on 296.
But hold on, did Hill vacate the belt for sure? Because he's still listed on the UFC website.
You got to see it like this. It's like last time, when Yuri vacated the belt, he wasn't like champion of, but the moment the other guys got into the octagon, you lose the title.
I got that. Yeah, this is what I think they're going to do too. I hope so. Right. The other thing is the rumor is Toronto in January. I'm sure you've heard this now. Cole Shelton.
Shout out Cole Shelton. Yeah.
I would love to see Alex and Yuri in Toronto, man. That would be fucking amazing. That would be fucking amazing.
You get a stiffy.
I would. Like Connor and Chandler's the bigger fight on paper, but I'd rather see Alex and Yuri here in Toronto. That would be amazing. So that's what I'm hoping for, guys. All right, let's get to the next fight, or the next card, I should say. Dana White Contender Series. We'll go through it really fast, Marcel. Yeah, sure. Zach Reese gets signed. Oban Elliott gets signed. Josephine Knudsen gets rejected. And Luis Palacio gets signed. I'll quickly give my thoughts. I'll let you do it. Reese's finish was quick, so it's really hard to say how good he is, but he's undefeated, had to finish. Of course, he's going to get a contract. Oban Elliott, my God, the guy took a got the shit kicked out of him, basically. So he took a shit. He got the shit kicked out of him is what I meant to say, and he came back and won. I don't know how he won this fight. Wow, an unbelievable comeback. This guy's very fucking tough, but I'll be honest, I'll be looking to fade this guy the second he steps in the octagon against pretty much any welterweight. I'll be honest with you. I think he's super hittable. I don't think he's got heart, but that's it. The Knudsen girl, man, that lead leg front kick was so nice, or a high kick, I should say. And then she goes and presses the girl against the fence. Dana fucking hates that. It's like what Loftman did. So I would have signed her, and it's so stupid. He's like, yeah, she checks off all the boxes, and then he's like, yeah, but we're not going to bring her in. Like, what? That doesn't even make sense. So it's almost like he wanted to sign her, I think, and maybe the matchmakers were like, no, don't bring her in. I don't know. Maybe the other way around. I'm not sure. It's kind of weird. And then, Palacio looked great. Robbie Ring got exposed, man. He got exposed. He looked awful. About 2 minutes of cardio. Guy was just not UFC caliber. Any quick thoughts on these fights?
Yeah, so Zachary Reese, that's my boy. That's that. I have to think about Chris Whiteman. Great performance, man. Beautiful armbar. Oban Elliott, that was a great, crazy fight, man. If that fight takes 10 seconds longer in the second round, he loses the fight, Yep. But that dude didn't even recognize that he had the submission possibility there. He recognized it way too late. Good comeback for Oban Elliott in that one. Knudsen against Isis Verbeek. Isis Verbeek from my country, right? Against Knudsen. Isis Verbeek was out of it after that first kick, I think that broke her kind of, and man, I'm sad they didn't sign Knudsen because I think she's a really fun fighter to watch, But she kind of played it safe at a certain moment. But hey, I'm not going to blame her, I think they signed way worse people this season than they should have signed Knudsen, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. The first one, Pauelo, really good. I really got annoyed by DC on the mic during that fight. You don't have to say Pajuelo 20,000 times and overacting the whole damn time. Yeah, and Felipe Dos Santos is fighting Manuel Cap now in Australia, right? That was the fifth fight.
Yeah, that fight got canceled. I didn't mention that, but yeah.
But yeah, happy for him. He got signed, and I think he's also from Charles Kent, right? He's from Shoot the Box.
Sure, but I mean, putting on the main card just shows how weak that card is, in my opinion.
Yeah, but that card,
that card's not very good, man. It's a one fight card, basically, right?
Yeah, they should make that actually a fight night, but yeah.
If you take off Izzy and Strickland, it's a fight night card. I agree. I mean, they basically sign anyone who wins now. I don't love that, but it's cheap talent, right? They 12-12. So, all right, last thing here, Marcel. We'll just go PFL really quick. The last PFL semifinal card.
Dude, that main event.
Pardon?
Dude, that main event from PFL.
Yeah, I mean, your boy lost again, though. I picked Collard, man. Burgos just hasn't looked good in PFL. Now, granted, it was a good fight, right? But I mean, he's on a decline, Marcel. He's on a huge decline. I think Collard has a chance to win the finals against OAM. And OAM looked great again, but I mean, I think he's got a chance to win. Well, anyways, give me your thoughts. I know you love the fight.
By the way, I think OAM will grapples him. He's going to make it a very boring fight.
Yeah,
but
fair enough.
That fight, I think it was like the first round. I think Burgos started very well with the leg kicks, and at a certain moment, Collard found his rhythm, with a lot of volume strike, a lot of punching. The thing is, and I'm gonna sound like a fanboy now, but I'm just being honest. What I'm seeing in the scramble with the standing, Collard went in Burgos' eye with his thumb, 50 seconds before the end of the round one, and Burgos was doing this, and then he got caught in the first round. He didn't got knocked down, but he got caught, and that was even more convincing that Collard won the first round. No problem with it. Second round, Burgos did well in the second round. He actually knocked him down with that leg kick, but then Collard knocked him down, and he did more damage. So Collard won that round in the second round. Third round, Burgos did great. I think Burgos won the third round. So 29-28 Collard. Great fight, man. It was a great fight. I love the fight. I think it was an amazing fight. And I mean, Collard showed up like he always shows up. So I wasn't surprised by that. I think Burgos gave a fun fight as well, last time people were shitting on him because of that fight he fought against, what's his name again? The Japanese guy?
Oh, God, check his name. It wasn't very
Nishikawa?
Good. Yeah, that's it, I think.
Yeah, he fought Nishikawa, and many people were shitting on him because he was like, he was a lot of grappling in that fight, right? Mm-hmm. He kept it to the ground. And now he did it, So, yeah, I really loved the fight. I think it was an amazing fight, one of the best fight of the year, in my opinion. Collard won. Yeah, good fight. Yeah, I liked it. But I think he fell short against.
You talked to Shane after the fight?
Yeah, briefly, man. I was like, dude, he was like, fuck, man, this is another fight where I wanted to be 5 rounds, He's like, yeah, I understand. But yeah, it was 3. But he's like, yeah, if it was, I hope I get this a 5 round. He wants a rematch, obviously, but he also wants a rematch against OAM, a 5 rounder.
Right.
We'll see next year. I don't know if they're going to still do the tournament format, So we'll see if they still are going to do the tournament format. But I think it was a great fight. I loved it. But to be honest, I think OAM beats Collard purely because he can be so dominant in the wrestling department and on the ground, But Collard definitely has a chance if he keeps standing,
For sure. All right, let's so let's just go through the rest of the card. OAM gets his win, no brainer there. Sadabusi split decision over Carlos Leal, who missed weight, but C gets the win. He goes to the finals, takes on Magomed Karimov. So that's a fight between 2 guys that have won previously. Biagio Ali Walsh. I mean, I don't understand keep putting amateur fights on the main card. Like, I get it, the guy's related to Muhammad Ali, but can this guy just go pro at this point? Like, what does he need to fight as an amateur for? It's kind of weird to me, man.
By the way, I give a huge shout out to Solomon Renfro, dude.
Sure.
I mean, he fought well against Magomed Karimov. He clearly lost the fight, but he fought well. He even took Magomed Karimov down in the third round, Sure. And he gave him a very good. It wasn't like a walkover like many people expected, Renfro is tough as hell, I remember he fighting Johnny Parsons in the Contender Series. I actually thought he won that fight, but he lost. And then he lost to Fugit in the regional scene after that one, He also has a loss to Mike Mallet, I think, early in his career. But yes, Renfro is a fun fighter, but Magomed Karimov is like a world-class guy. So yeah.
Fair enough. All right, let's see. I mean, the prelims, I don't even care about them. I'll be honest with you, man. I didn't watch them, so I don't care. All right, that's it for this podcast. Let's just finish this up right now. We're gonna get to the UFC Paris preview in just a second, guys. So appreciate everyone tuning in. Just bear with me for a minute, guys, to set up the podcast. Appreciate you tuning in. UFC Singapore Recap done. We're gonna do the UFC Paris preview in just about 2 minutes. Let me just set it up. I'll talk to you guys in a sec.